Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, as you can see, there's a big mess here because I was starting with, well, I always have a kind of a big mess going on, but I blame that on the dinosaurs. But I was going to explain how I like thrower type of flashlights and stuff like that. And I was going to tell you also about not having any problem with this light anymore now that I tightened it. You know, not even having it come on randomly. And I discovered something. Alright, let me turn the light off on this. Olight has a magnetic tail. And so do a lot of other ones. Come on, you better... There you go. See that? This light is in the opposition. I'm not doing any other trick, but if you get a strong enough magnetic field, you can turn the light on. And maybe pulling a ball bearing or something like this. I've really been enjoying this rotary switch thing, but like I said, with technology, there are advantages and disadvantages to everything. And occasionally, you know, this thing would come on. And one time, it came on by the refrigerator. What have I got on the refrigerator? A magnet. I don't know if I got that close, because this is a really strong magnet. You know, I mean, it'll pick up. So is this one. I mean, it'll pick up a knife. But if you get... See, I ain't even making contact with it. But there's a magnetic field, you know. They do like a donut shape magnetic field, so it can be stronger and weaker. You see that? And there's no way to lock this thing out other than, you know, untwisting the head a little bit. And then it won't come on. Because you're not making electrical contact. But now, it's engaged. The only thing stops it is a switch. And this is not a normal switch, like an on and an off, click, click. It's going through computers and ball bearings, you know, because there's a detent and all that. And obviously, it's affected by it's admittedly a strong magnetic field. But this fits in perfectly with what my mind did on electronics, is problem solving. You're trying to figure out in your mind, it's just like with a lock too, trying to pick a lock. You're trying to, in your mind, picture how the thing works, it should work, and then how do you get around that? Do you have to manufacture something? Do you have to do something? And an intermittent problem in anything, in aircraft, it was one of the hardest things to duplicate. A lot of times because they were up at altitude, and we're down at, you know, we're down on the ground trying to test this stuff, and it's not duplicating because it's a wire that only happens to, you know, get cold at a certain altitude, or this stuff contracts and everything. Really hard to duplicate an intermittent problem or anything mechanical, you know, like cars and stuff like that. It only happens when I do such and such, and you can drive that thing, but that's what science is good about, you know, repeatable issue. Because like I said, it's not the strobe, you know, you hold it, that's a strobe. I would get a flash like that, you know, and it's like, am I losing my mind? You know, that's always a possibility. But I also like to try to figure out what's going on. So, you know, I just thought I'd demonstrate that before I got off into a long rant of talking about different type of flashlights. But there you go. So, let me turn this light back on. 2 possible issues you can have with a rotary type tail switch. One is that off isn't always off. I was going to say, you know, I've been using it. I used it for a whole day, And you would think, this is what I do sometimes with other flashlights with the tail switch like this. When you're pushing it in your pocket to seat this, you'll turn the flashlight on. That's why a lot of times I have these on high, just to let me know, hey, this one it doesn't do that, because if you momentarily push it, it's no problem. So I was gonna give kudos, for that. And I don't want to ding, I don't want to ding the manufacturer for this or anything. But I think it's just something inherent to this type of design that causes this. And they may come up with, a workaround. And like I said, the only other than that, man, I was finding, like I said, if here's a tail cap, and if you capture the switch like this, and you have your sum sitting like here, all you have to do is rotate this way, and you don't even have to rotate all the way, and you can get a momentary, just a little momentary. Because I was thinking, man, I missed the momentary, button of a switch. Well, you've got that with that. But here I was, ready to say, all right, all the problems that were going on must have been operator error. And some of it, I think, was. I think, like I said, the head was loose. But inherent in this design, obviously, is affected by magnetic fields. And you would say, you're never around other magnets. Well, if you've got flashlights like this, you're around other magnets. If you've got a refrigerator with magnets on it, you've got strong magnets. I have strong magnets lying around sometimes. And often right down here, one time it turned on, but there wasn't a magnet that close nearby, so I don't know. I'm my theory of what happens only goes so far. Let me show you this. But I was going to talk about the different types of lenses and why I like throwers, and these are a kind of a compromise, a TIR lens. It just usually focuses everything, but a really deep type of reflector like this one right here. Even though it's a small little emitter, because it's smooth and everything, there's a usable spill with it. Anyway, I just thought I'd demonstrate that. How to turn something on without physically touching it. Are you seeing things? Stop that. Stop it. You two, quit it. Somehow I'm strangely attracted to you. Magnetic humor. Alright, so there you go. Thought I'd just throw that one in there for you. Any people that find odd things interesting, or interesting things odd. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day. I wanted to add, I was trying to isolate how it, it turns on where it's at. And it's not just at the switch. It's up here. You can rotate it around, and the power light comes on. The light comes on in like medium. And then if you come back towards the tail switch, you can get it. Sorry, I'm operating with a strong magnet around. It's not super strong, but you can get it to do medium, and then if you rotate over here, you can get turbo. You see, it's off. I'm not pushing on the tail switch. So just be aware, if you have one of these flashlights and you happen to be carrying a magnet in your pocket, you could turn it on to turbo by accident, unless you had the head twisted off. Then none of this will work, because there is no mechanical connection to it. But there's no other way with this particular flashlight. I don't know. They've got a good return policy. Amazon's got a good return policy if it bothers you. I'm going to keep it. But to me, this is just like, troubleshooting. I was trying to figure out, why does it come on, how does it come on, and what affects it, and where does it affect it. And right there we got turbo with the little light. And it's warm. I mean, they warn you that it can get hot. So, just FYI, be aware. And again, no slam to any company, but you've got to be aware of the limitations of what you're using, why you're using it, and why your pocket feels warm all of a sudden, and you know you got it off.